Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be making this video because I want to bring to your attention a tool that I've been using for my own language learning, and I think that it can be really helpful for you. So what I'm talking about is Busuu, an application that you can download for iOS and Android, and you can also use it on your desktop if that's what you desire and feel most comfortable with. And in it you will be able to find 12 of the world's most spoken languages like Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, Chinese, Russian, etc. So personally, I have been using it for Russian, but obviously you can find plenty of other languages to play with or to practice. I think that Busuu differentiates itself from other applications because of two things. Number one, aside from being able to do all of the exercises and the vocabulary drills and the grammar drills, you will also be able to engage with other users who are native speakers in the language that you're learning. So it's basically like a language exchange, and you will be able to ask for help if you ever need to correct a sentence, or you're confused about a grammar point, or you're confused about using a vocabulary word in the right way. The other thing that I found super neat about Busuu is that you can create a study plan. So basically what you do is that you tell Busuu how many days in the week you want to practice and for how much time, and you also give Busuu basically like your goals. So I said that in Russian, for me, my goal was to get to an intermediate level, almost like B2. And what the system does is that it creates a study plan for you to keep you organized and motivated, and then it kind of gives you a guesstimate of a date when you're going to reach that level. Now, I don't think that that is set in stone, obviously, but it is nice to look forward to a date like that. And I think that just having that goal and being able to visualize all the days that you've practiced really gives you the motivation that you need in order to keep going on, because obviously you just don't want to throw all of that hard work away. So definitely check out the links in the description down below, which will direct you to the Busuu app so that you can start learning for free today, or get the premium version if you guys want to get more cool features. So guys, for the video, I want to show you how I learned Russian with Busuu, because I think that it is really interesting the way that they teach you vocabulary, because they do have a very particular way of doing it. Not only do they have exercises, and not only do they have flashcards, they also have a word bank, which I find super interesting. And you know me, I love learning vocabulary, so I want to do an exercise with you so that you guys can get an idea of what the Busuu app is like and why I think it's a great tool to integrate to your language study routine. So we're going to start with the vocabulary feature of Busuu, and I think that it is really useful that this app divides each of its lessons in terms of topics. So as you guys can see on the screen, I have been learning a little bit and playing a little bit with this app, and I have learned some words about food and drinks in towns and cities, and I'm going to learn some about hobbies. Actually, we're going to do that lesson together because I want to show you why I think that this app is so great at strengthening vocabulary. So guys, let's do the first lesson together. So I'm going to do free time with you just to show you kind of like what the app is about and why I think that this is the perfect app to strengthen vocabulary and really be able to memorize everything in the most holistic way possible, or at least is better than other apps that I've seen. So the first time that we are going to see if you sign into this app and you do one of the lessons is something like this. You're going to see a picture and a mini video, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, and then you're going to see a sample sentence. I think that the fact that they have a sample sentence is great, is something that I only started doing very recently when I was doing my digital flashcards. So for my other languages, what I usually would do was only write the word and then write the definition of the word on the other side of the flashcard. But that wasn't very useful because I wasn't able to really understand how to use the word in context. But with something like this that shows you a sample sentence, when looking at this, I can totally understand not only the meaning of the word, but also how to use that word within the context of the Russian language. And I think that it is particularly useful in Russian because the grammar is so complicated that if you move anything, everything else changes. So the fact that you're able to see a word in context is useful in the sense that you know, like, whether it's in the nominative case, accusative case, that is very complicated. You will only understand it if you're learning a language with cases and declensions. But in essence, I think that at least for Russian and for languages like German, it is very useful to see that word in context. And for other languages, obviously, you just get to learn the meaning better, and it kind of like sticks into your head because you're seeing it in the form of something that makes sense to you. So after that, I think that the other thing that is super useful is that they have a mini video where they show you the pronunciation of the word. And of course, you're only being exposed to this. And after this, you have like a few exercises, as you can see on the screen, where they kind of drill that vocabulary into your head. I don't think that you should only and solely rely on this in order to memorize vocabulary, because as I've said in my other videos before, what I do is that I will practice and review my vocabulary over and over and over again until I am absolutely sure that is ingrained into my head. So what I like about this app as well is that if you can see on the screen, I can star the vocabulary and then I can save the words that I'm learning into a word bank. Now, these lessons have 3 parts, which I also find kind of cool. So the first part is where you get exposed to the vocabulary, you get exposed to the pronunciation, and you get to read a sample sentence, so you get to read the word in context. Then you have something that I have never seen in any other app, which is a dialogue. So they basically use all of the words that you learn in that lesson for free time in this case, and they put them into a dialogue where 2 native Russian speakers or native whatever speakers for whatever language you choose to learn use the words in context so that you can understand how to organically use them in a conversation. So I think that is probably the most useful things, and if I was learning these words in particular, I would totally learn the dialogues. I would try to memorize the dialogues. I know that sounds super robotic, but I think that the fact that they have dialogues is very useful, and at least that's what I would do so that I could kind of like have an understanding of how to organically and naturally use the words when speaking. And of course, you get to listen to all of the words and the pronunciation, which I think that for a language that you're just beginning to learn is great listening practice. And the final step is that you get quizzed on all of the things that you learn in the lesson. As I said, it's only 6 minutes, so it's not going to take a ton of time. But I think that it is kind of useful that you do have to recall all of the information at the end and put it into a written test, like a mini written test, so that you sort of know how much you learned from the lesson. And again, as I said, obviously 6 minutes is not going to be the end all be all of it. You will have to, if you want to learn the language well and you want to memorize the words well, I would suggest that you go back into the word bank and review everything. So I actually want to go a little bit back to the word bank so that you guys can see why I think that this app is so nice in terms of strengthening vocabulary. So as you can see on the screen, this app divides all of the words that you learn or that you start or that you review and that you miss often in the exercises in 3 levels: weak words, medium words, and strong words. So obviously this is absolutely great because you can just hone in on your weak words and review all of those without having to bother with the words that you already have memorized. The way that you can review these weak words is with flashcards or writing them, but either way, you do get a visual and you do get a mini video with a pronunciation, which I think is great because from the get-go, you can just pair up the pronunciation, the term, and a visual so that you can easily memorize whatever term you're learning. So I think in terms of like flashcards, this is incredibly aesthetically pleasing. It is very user-friendly, and it has the 3 main components for you to be able to easily memorize a word. So I thoroughly recommend Busuu because I think that you guys will really enjoy it, especially if you guys are like me and you enjoy learning vocabulary. I think that my experience with learning Russian with Busuu has been of a lot of lessons where I learn a lot of vocabulary, and having the visuals and the pronunciation is always really helpful. So I think that if you guys are looking for something similar and you enjoy learning vocabulary as well, I think that Busuu is the perfect app for you to use and start learning a new language or continue learning a language that you want to improve and advance. So I will link the Busuu app below in the description box, and it will be the first link that you guys see. You guys can of course sign up for free or get the premium version if you guys want more features. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and I will see you next time.